Welcome back, YouTube. Renaissance here with G and J. But since this one is big for the culture, I brought my cousin in, Josh, who is actually a co-host of his own podcast, the Brew Podcast, here in Cincinnati. What's up, Josh?
What's up, y'all? Thank y'all for having me, man. Thank y'all.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure for sure.
Yeah, I needed you for this, man. I needed some grown man talk. I'm trying to get as many grown men here as possible. And the reason why, because we want to talk about the versus battle that happened last night with Jeezy and Gucci Man, aka Snowman and Big Wop, Goo Wop, whatever you want to call them. The joint was
Big
real
Snow.
big.
Big Snow.
Hey, what okay, we see where you're going. Gucci was calling him snow cone or all types of stuff. I was real apprehensive about this even happening. If we go back a little bit in history of why this is even big in the first place, it's because these two had real beef in Atlanta. Me and Jay, as we've mentioned in several episodes, we went to Clark, Atlanta. We were down there from 2005 to 2009 at least when all this stuff started. When both the big albums came out. And the story was from what we heard was that they were beefing, and then Jeezy had a problem. He had somebody in camp. And on his diss tracks to Gucci, he put a bounty out for his chain. I think it was about 10 bands, right?
Yeah.
You know, push come to shove, these guys show up at Gucci's place. Gucci had to defend himself from being robbed or killed or what have you. And he killed this man. He killed the dude that was actually on the label with Jeezy. And never since then, Gucci's had a reason to have beef, allegedly, with Jeezy. And Jeezy definitely, with a dead homie, had a reason to have beef with Gucci. This has been going on for over a decade. They both
years.
grown, making money. They both bosses at this level. You know, change their bodies, everything, psyches, everything. And all of a sudden, we get this versus battle that in Magic City in Atlanta, and we don't know what's gonna happen. So we watched it last night. I'm gonna throw this at you first, Josh. Who you thought won?
Jeezy. Honestly, Jeezy mopped the floor with Gucci last night, man. Gucci did not go into this battle trying to win, obviously.
No, he did.
He went in trying to be disrespectful. And so he won whatever that battle, but he lost. I guess he won that battle, but lost the war. You know what I mean? So he got mopped up for sure. But like he won a disrespect battle if that's what he was going for. I wish he would have played the first one. This is round one of Gucci Man versus Jeezy. Cool. I gave him that round, even though really he should have lost that round because Trapper Die intro is one of the best intros ever. But I gave round one to Gucci because the audacity to come out as your first song. And he should have left it at, he should have came out to that, left it alone, and just play hits from there instead of just trying to be disrespectful.
You don't think he should have brought Truth in there at all?
Which one was the one?
That's true.
One was the one where he was like,
"That's Truth."
I put him. If you send some more, I'll put them in the grave too.
That's true. Ain't that the truth?
Well, yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth.
That's the truth.
No, he shouldn't have played that one.
Well, my thing was it did well from a consumer standpoint that needed to happen. Now, from a grown man, somebody might die over this. Didn't need to happen. but as far as like people tuning in, half the people that watch it for that exact moment.
Yeah,
we can't even argue that because everybody knew that was coming or it was going to be talked about a little bit from somebody's perspective. And I'm like, at first I was super nervous about it because I'm like, I've been around those type of Atlanta dudes, and it's not too many people that can talk some, not even sense, but like talk them down out of whatever they feeling at that moment. You feel me? And what made me happy though especially afterwards when they were taking all the pictures, I started seeing everybody like Zaytoven and all the producers that are friends with both of them, like, because that's what we was hearing. It was like, oh, you didn't have to say that in the background. So it was good to see people there in support of it, and added security, keeping them apart from each other, man. But it was
the NOI was security.
Yeah, I saw some of them. I saw some armed security outside in like some 300s or whatever. So it was necessary. Definitely was necessary, because one sentence, it could have been bodies all through there.
Before I even move on, to answer your question about Truth, that's where I had apprehension about. You had Jeezy, who was going to have a battle with T.I. Jeezy get on TV in the interviews and says, in the interview, Gucci, Guwap, respectfully declined. He killed my homie. He got beef with me. He respectfully declined a battle. So the next day, Guwap said, set it up. So I'm thinking right there, oh, man. And then you saw some of those videos Gucci was putting up where he came down the hill and he said he confirmed that they're going to be in the same room, and that he's still throwing jokes at him. I'm like, I don't know what type of energy. So I was excited to even see that was going to be in the same room, to see him come on stage with the fits, and then get into what we about to get into, the grown man business. So the grown man business, we just talked about the beef. And it was a big moment that Josh mentioned where he went over the Truth song, and at the end of the song, after it cut, he repeated that he put his homie in the ground. I remember in the interview with Angela Yee, where not Angela Yee, but Charlamagne the Guy, where he disrespected Angela Yee. He repeated that he deserved to die. I'm glad he dead. He needed to be put in the ground. Well, Josh, I think you already answered that question if you thought it was necessary, or if he went over the top. Jay, do you think he went over the top when he did that?
Okay, so I'm gonna come at it from a couple of different angles, because a lot of people, especially in the comments that we've seen, a lot of people are saying, oh, Gucci's this, Jeezy's this, somebody wasn't evolved enough or wasn't mature enough. But what people are understanding, and I'm gonna talk from my own perspective on this, as somebody that's been shot at. You don't know how you're gonna react when you see that person, and when you see that person, that initial emotion that you have, no matter how evolved you think you are, is what you're gonna feel, and then you're gonna have to do something about that feeling. So, like, we're not giving Gucci enough credit for even showing up to that joint. You feel me? And having people in there that gave a damn about him to keep him apart. Also, we not even think about how good businessmen these two men are. Like, this could have been all of a facade for real, and they could have squashed it before and just leaned into it.
Yeah.
It could be a whole bunch of things.
The only thing I gotta say about that is, so this isn't the first time they've had a conversation. Gucci said they've had a conversation about piecing it up before, but I guess they were supposed to do it publicly, and it just didn't happen. So Gucci, I just feel like this wasn't the first time, so he can't really use that as an excuse. I feel like it was over the top. I just feel like if he still really felt that way of that song, he should have never accepted. And he could still feel that way because it was self-defense. So I'm not, but if he felt like he needed to perform that song still, I think he shouldn't have accepted the battle.
Okay. Now, I kind of agree with you, but I'm leaning a little bit back on that, because it's in the totality, when we go past that little, riff of a moment and we look at the totality of it, Jeezy was throwing his jabs in there too, even with his intros, I'm the realest nigga in there, and looking dead at him, you feel me? So it was just, they had two different goals, and it was just really interesting to see. But I got to give Gucci credit, especially in the moment, because when G was saying, this ain't about you, this ain't about me, this is about Doe B, this is about Mo 3, da 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 da. Gucci was about to say something. He was about to turn. He was like, So two things happened. And me and Greg kind of had this thought. We bounced it off each other. One, damn, he took the high road. I can't even get in and go in how I want to no more. And 2, damn, he right. I'm tripping right now. Like, I got a legitimate reason to beef about it, but we grown as hell. We got kids. We married. Fuck is we doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know that went through his head. It had to, because I saw the emotion on his face. Like, his whole body went like, damn. You feel me?
Right.
So
yeah.
I give him credit in that moment. He's just not an articulate man to have said everything that he needed to say, but Jeezy is. And that's why it took him to extend that olive branch.
There's a tweet going around too that said P from QC was on Clubhouse, that app that's going around. And he said as soon as they got in the car, Gucci was like, I shouldn't have did that.
Oh, shouldn't have did what?
He shouldn't have did the disrespect. He shouldn't have been disrespectful. And then, so I got a question for y'all. What if after Gucci starts off the first song with the diss song, what if Jeezy plays Stay Strapped after that? I feel like shit gets out of hand.
Nah, I don't think so, because they both understand each other's catalogs. Even though they say don't mess with each other, they both listening to each other's music, or they heard it. That's guaranteed.
You saw Gucci mouth in the lyrics a whole bunch of his joints.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was bouncing through it the whole time too. So.
And I mean, to even go further into that, see, the thing about the battles is that you somewhat are allowed or encouraged to be somewhat competitive and disrespectful. If you remember 2 Chainz and Rick Ross, cool, but Rick Ross was digging at him a few times. He was trying to like, I'm sunning you. You cool, I mess with you, but there's a whole different level. And I think T.I. wanted to go in that battle with 50 Cent and do that. The only difference was they had real beef. And I think, doing Stay Strapped would have been cool as long as they didn't cross the line. And I think Gucci was like, yo, we about to go in here and battle. I've been waiting to do something different and entertaining. So I'm gonna go in here and go aggressive at him. And then he gonna try to get all grown man on me in the middle of the battle on T. Like, bruh, like we could have talked about that before. That's what Gucci looked like. Like, we already discussed this. That's what we doing. But and at that moment, I think that's when I agree that Jeezy won the battle. I think that's when Jeezy won the battle. He made him compromise and then went into his track. Oh no. Then went his track. But I actually wanted to get in, because you asked a good question, or you brought up something before that you saw a meme. What's some of the craziest memes or videos y'all seen after this? Like, what was the content of them, Josh?
You know that. Oh, go ahead.
One of the tweets I seen, it said, if you think Gucci won the battle, you still read with your finger.
I saw one where it was like a zombie from The Walking Dead, and it said Jeezy's dead homeboy watching the verses.
Oh. The one,
like the zombie was sitting there like for real.
Most of them, I was laughing that came before the battle when it's talking about when he might repeat that line. About his dead homie, and you saw Jeezy jumping over the table. Or see the one that got me, because I already knew what type of energy Gucci was on, and the one that I kept seeing is that Gucci for the customers, Jeezy for the hustlers. Because for the most part, this whole beef seemed like a boss dealing with a soldier. I'm gonna send somebody to do something, and then Gucci looking at you like, oh, you a pussy. You gonna send somebody to do your work for you? Well, yeah. I'm not going to jail. I'm not incriminating myself. I'm not about to do anything that can be tied back to me. I'm not even going to say I specifically sent someone to do it. Something happened. Oh, you killed a person? Yo, you killed somebody? It was my friend? I didn't know that. Oh, well, And then Gucci, somewhat dry snitch, going on so many media outlets saying, I'm pretty sure it was Jeezy who sent him on this day because
he testified. He didn't dry snitch. He testified in court.
You lying?
He testified that. Yeah, he said that.
You perping?
Yes.
I know that part of the story.
Yeah, he testified in court that Jeezy sent dude.
Now my thing is this about that situation. When the police are insert themselves into this, you feel me? And you ain't got no choice. He don't got no choice but to testify because it was self-defense. So what you gonna say?
Oh, somebody came in my house.
What was Jesus?
I'm defending myself at that point. I don't know who it was. He dead.
Right. You feel me? So like he kind of had to testify, but I'm not okay. If we talking street rules, then this battle probably shouldn't even happen. But as far as where these men are, I'm not even considering street rules no more because that ain't got nothing to do with the current event personally. But I'm not knocking anybody, but I can't get with especially people that ain't never been in the street talking about who and what is supposed to be gangster. You know what I'm saying? People that ain't never been shot at, people ain't never been in no beef trying to say what something should be and what something shouldn't be. Now matter of fact, I'm gonna give you the story, but I'm not gonna say no names and it's gonna be what it is. Back in high school, I was making some moves with friends, but I wasn't doing nothing crazy. And one day I was going to one of the last dances of the year. A friend of mine was picking me up, so I'm walking out of the house, and there's a gate in front of my garage, and then the car's on the other side. So I'm about to get to the gate, and I see and hear gunshots coming at me from the right-hand side. So naturally, I turn around and run back towards the house. The millisecond that I do that, I'm like, damn, if they're shooting at me, they're about to shoot up the house. My mama in the house. So I turn back around, run towards the car, dip in the car, and da-da-da-da. I recognize that car. I know what hood it's from. I know what block it's from, and I know who that car belonged to. I'm not sure if that's who the person was that was shooting at me or whatever, but I knew that the whole time. I found out a year and a half ago that one of the best friends I got in this world, she married the dude that was shooting at me, that was trying to kill me. And we had to sit down and have a conversation. And that man apologized to me and was like, man, we was kids, man. I didn't know what I was doing. Apparently I was shooting at the wrong person, but it is what it is. And we had, and it was, I was feeling a certain way, and he made it known that he was sorry. You know what I'm saying? He grew enough, but it wasn't that, oh man, you know what I'm saying? It was that grown man. This is what it is. This is what it ain't. And I'm glad everything was okay. But I'm just saying, bro, like you don't know how you're gonna feel. You don't know how you're gonna react. You just gotta be evolved enough to see things before they happen. And I don't think Gucci gave a damn about what was happening. He was like, man, whatever pops off, pops. I think I'm saying my piece. And
How old were you when that happened?
So that I was 18, like 17 or 18.
Like you said, you
was a kid. Crazy.
Right. Like you said, you was a kid. Now, for the audience, we all legally have firearms at this point. And me and Josh have a family to worry about. And Jay is around my family so much that he thus has a family as well. Which brings me, you was actually getting into that point about beef and how you feel when you about 18 and how you feel they're 40, we're in our 30s, how you should handle these things. Nothing happened. You didn't go after the kid, but the reactions we were seeing from people, we're calm right now, and we're having like dialogue, calm, wise dialogue. These people are not in the Gucci Jeezy situation, but most of the comments that you see and I won't say trolling, I mean dead ass serious. Did you see dudes come in there and say Jeezy should have did this or Gucci should have did this when that happened?
Yeah, I didn't even read them. Because I'm like, why are we acknowledging people that don't have the sense? Well, not even the sense. Forget the sense. Do you care about the person you're watching right now? Do you give a damn about Jeezy? Do you give a damn about Gucci? Do you want them alive? Do you want them thriving? That's the only thing that matters to me in this whole thing. Like people talking about what should have happened. The bottom line is, are you a fan? Did you show up to watch this? Are they alive? Are they going to be good? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care what's gangster, because none of us, at this point, nobody that's talking about this subject is gangster. Not even the people that's claiming to be gangster. You know what I'm saying? If you was really gangster, you probably wouldn't even know about this for real. You'd be in the street.
Yeah, man. I don't want anything bad. I was worried that something might happen, but I'm not hoping for anything. I'm not wishing for anything. I only want positivity to come out of this situation, man. I don't want them to force
That was a beautiful
anything.
moment.
Yeah, I don't want them to force anything. Like,
Right.
don't force the song, don't force a video, don't force nothing. Let everything happen on its own. You know, if a song comes along a year from now, 2 years from now, shit, 5 years from now that you feel like that Jeezy feel like Gucci should be on, or vice versa, do it, but don't force it.
Do you?
Right. And
I
I
mean,
think it'll be similar to the Nas and Jay Z thing. And actually, Jeezy brought that up at the end of the battle. He was like, Nas and Jay Z, watch out, we coming. Yeah, and I don't know if it was mutual, but that's a realistic idea for them to really get money like that. If if their surrounding people are with it as well.
but we might be a small group of people, is my point. We might be a small group of people, and either the more people you got saying something might make it more true, the louder you might say something might make it more true, or the more power you got behind something might make it more true. And the bottom line is most people was not agreeing with what we're saying right now. AD, I was
Now,
talking to AD. Go ahead.
I think I don't think Gucci fans agree with what we're saying right now.
But you're
I seen a
grown.
lot of
Bro,
I
go
seen a
ahead.
lot of Gucci fans saying like, "Oh fuck that, how Jeezy trying to be the bigger man when he sent somebody." Like, they saying all of that, but like I said earlier, I feel like when you accepted this battle, you shouldn't accept it if you still got that energy.
Right.
But you know,
They
but and
started they started with saying RIP King Von and all these other dudes, and then you about to start your beef all over again. That's my point. That's where I wanted to get with the conversation, is that the culture at this point, like in the 90s, it was Tupac and NWA and a couple of people getting that gangster. Most of the other gangsters, I forgot the guy that hung around Biggie and that the East Coast crew that was with Tupac and all that stuff, Haitian Jack. There was a whole bunch of gangsters
yeah,
around them that you never heard about.
Right.
Now everybody want to be gangster, or the gangsters are the ones that's rapping are going mainstream. So the entire culture around hip hop or being in the black culture is surrounded about being being tough and holding up your name no matter what. So everybody dying, everybody can go. I was just talking to AD. AD said a lot of females. She had to delete females off her friends list because they were encouraging Jeezy to do something about that, or Gucci not to let that go. We all
Right.
grown. So
yeah.
what I want to get is, I want to answer is, like, am I wrong? Is that where the culture is? Because that's where I think it is. I think everybody ready to go.
I
Everybody
don't
ready
think
to
it's
jump.
everybody. I don't think it's everybody. I think it's certain people that. Oh, to, to be honest, it boils down to this: have you evolved as a man, and as a woman, you can't even do that. So we talking about two completely different perspectives. As a man, I got to be responsible for me and the things around me. I don't know if a woman has to be responsible for that. I got to. As a matter of fact, as a man, if there's women around me, whether I know them or not, I'm a little bit responsible for what happens to them because other men are gonna look at me crazy as hell if something happens to them in front of me and I do nothing. That's the type of responsibility that we have, and that's how we got to look at the world. So Jeezy was looking at that perspective. I got so many people to protect. Matter of fact, I'm not even mad at you, bro. You eating, you doing your thing. We don't got to be friends, but I don't want nothing bad to happen to you. You feel me? It's just it's really sad that that's the first thing that people go to. The very first thing. It's like, oh no, this should have been. It's like, bro, what do you want to happen, dog?
You
What do
know
you
what they
really
want
want
to
to happen?
happen.
Have you learned from anything? Like we've lost. You know how many rappers, whether it be getting killed or just dying from dietary things or whatever, you know how many rappers we've lost since Tupac died? Like
See, lots of people got killed here
it's
in
an
Cincinnati.
astronomical number. Yeah, I remember that. I mean, we can go back to Mac Dre. We can talk about a whole bunch of people that it did not have to happen to. You feel me? And it's a lot of you might be able to attest to this. Being somebody that's from the hood and being around people or being related to people that were within the gang culture. for people like us that had other options, the people around us saw that and sometimes protected us. Some of the OGs in my neighborhood was like, nah, that's little homie. He got on those colors because he's going to practice. Leave him alone. He gonna do something. You know what I mean? Like, that's what real gangsters do. That's what real gangsters do. And I'm tired of seeing people just not give a damn about nobody, bro. I've seen gangsters walk old ladies across the street. What happened to that? You feel me?
Yeah.
What happened to that? You got people beating up old women now.
Josh, do you agree that, I mean, it's popular culture now to be tough? That everybody want to be clicked up, everybody want to be tough, everybody want to end everything with violence?
Nah,
more
I actually think there's more of a variety now than it was back in the day.
Okay.
I feel like back in the day it was cooler to be tough. When we were growing up,
yeah,
I feel like we used to think it was cool to be tough. We used to think it was cool to like get in trouble, go to jail, shit like that. And
we had rules though, but we had rules.
Yeah, but there's this Kendrick Lamar line. He says, I forget it. I can't even quote it, but it basically says something about how back in the day we used to think it was cool to go to jail or be tough, and I feel like now we out of that. Like, I feel like now we know better. That gangster lifestyle, it still is glorified, but it's like, I feel like it's for the younger kids now. But and then I feel like even some of them, they got more examples of like artists that aren't like promoting violence and stuff like that, like the J. Cole's, the Kendricks.
But here's the thing about that. Here's the thing about that. They're not in their generation. They're in our generation.
Kinda, yeah. I kind of get what you're saying too. Even though they the biggest artists right now, they are our generation.
They're our generation. Them kids ain't listening to them for real. Because we wasn't really listening to Jay-Z like that until we were old enough to really understand it. We didn't, like, if you listening to drum music, you think you can break down 4/4/4? Hell no. Hell no.
Drill music in Chicago, like, okay, T.I. Beefing with a shorty up in Chicago. I don't know if it's 500 Breezy or one of the Chicago rappers, and they going back and forth during the battle and prior to it. But again, King Von
in the comments, wasn't it?
Right, in the comments. And then they going crazy. I don't know if you've been seeing what's going on in Brooklyn up there. They've been going crazy up there. They walking into restaurants. They pulling up in Manhattan, shooting people in Broad. Like, they getting crazy. And my only thing was, okay, if they do have a more of a variety, I do agree with Josh, because I didn't see this much of an array in music, especially in the Black culture, vocabulary, content, rap style, more females in the game ever. But at the same time,
I think we're being prisoners of the moment, but go ahead and finish that.
Right. At the same time, those things have risen, but I think the violence has risen as well. I would have thought that some of this conscious movement would have got to them. I know they watched Hidden Colors. I know they watched, everybody in the hood watch Hidden Colors, but they still said it's over. It's over. People got to go. And Jeezy and them, that ain't gangster. Like Freddie Gibbs was talking, how you gonna sit down and do, a versus with somebody that killed your homie, talking about some gangster stuff? Don't talk to me. So they still, it's a lot of, it's too many people. All I'm saying, it's too many people in that space.
I completely agree with that statement as far as the reference to Gangsta Gibbs. I would say that I'm gonna give him a little bit more credit because that had to do with something personal. Him and Jeezy got a personal beef, and I think that either one of them, outside of being associated with that emotion, are mature enough, you know what I'm saying, to kind of go along. But it might just be the moment, you feel me? And we gotta understand that people like him are a little bit younger than us too. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta go through stuff, you gotta experience stuff, you gotta lose stuff to understand what some of this stuff is worth. Most people that are in these comments or even talking about this don't know the true value of what their life is. They don't. Matter of fact, most of these, and I'm gonna comment on the women. Most of these women don't understand how close men are to killing each other every day. It don't take much. It don't. Like, all it takes is for you to have a tonation in your voice and for somebody else not to feel that at that point in time, and it's beef. And whoever takes it the furthest, the other person's going to match that, and it's going to be what it is. That happens every day over nothing. That happens over people stepping on shoes. That happens over people, you know what I'm saying, just talking crazy. And we as men know that because we've seen it. I don't know if women have to deal with that. We've had to walk streets and know where we ain't supposed to be. You know what I mean? That's a different type of mindset.
I think it's always you got it in. Even with men, it's some that know, some that don't.
Right.
Yeah.
See, my thing is this, like you said, Freddie Gibbs and Jeezy outside of that situation might have a talk, but here's my point. The young kids watching. So when you at your most heated, what do you do? And that's why I appreciate what Jeezy did. That's the most heated moment of that. And instead of reacting like they normally react, you know how Guwap react. You know how anybody else reacts. Whenever you saw Tupac and something bad happened, he turned up. Whenever you saw your favorite rapper in a compromised situation, whether it was 50 Cent, whether it was Rick Ross, whether it was people in NWA, they always went to the next level. So we can talk, they can write good raps as much as they want to. But when they get confronted with the op, how do they act? And I feel like them doing that is what transitioned to what we seeing now. You can talk a whole bunch of game, you can make all types of records, but now them kids saw everything you do as I say, not as I do. That don't work. They saw what you did, and I feel like many of them are doing this. Now our little Black Lives Matter movement is starting to transition to trying to get them from killing each other. You ain't see this many people in the hood or in the community care about changing the culture that much, marching for stuff like that. We didn't think it was a point to it. That's gonna be where it's at. We gonna make it out the hood. We gonna improve it. But now the people that got out, they making raps and they arguing, they beefing with each other. So they say it don't never change. What they say, you can make it out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to avoid that if it's necessary. If we disagree about how prevalent it is, then maybe it's just gonna fizzle out. They gonna see the real. It's gonna be some of them that do the right thing, some of them that won't. Some that see it, like Josh said, some that don't.
I definitely think that it's more prevalent now, and I think that has more so to do, number one, with migration, because time, and you got to think from my perspective, being a West Coast kid, I had to explain to people that all over the entire coast, and I'm talking about all the way to Alaska, it's Bloods and Crips down that whole coast, and it's not a game, and I'm not playing. Like when the snow melts, it's bodies over there. I promise you. So that spread out. You know what I'm saying? People moving around and blase. Just like how, you know, GDs and folks from Chicago kind of moved down to Memphis. It's the same highway. You feel me? That mentality. Well, the music started reaching further. Remember how back in the day a local star kind of stayed a local star or was underground? A local star is immediately a world star now. And that's kind of, I think that has a lot to do with it.
Right. Josh, do we
responsibility?
Right. Do we have a problem or not? Is it a problem or
not? I think there's always going to be a problem. But
please, I'm sorry now.
But it's all about balance, man. It's about having different options. So I think it's okay to listen to that music. It's okay to think, to enjoy that type of music. It's okay to enjoy that stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's about balance. You got to enjoy some different types of music as well, or take in some different type of content. So it's just about balance. Like, yeah, I like some of that violent stuff, some of the misogynistic stuff. I like all of that, but I listen to other stuff too to balance that out.
Right. And all of that music is a lot more powerful than people think. You know what I mean? It's not a mistake that people listen to certain songs before they did evil things or whatever. Like people would listen to gangster music before they went on a drive-by. Music puts you in a state of mind, and we not acknowledging that, especially with the consistency and us being in quarantine. You know, the people might just be listening to the same thing. You don't know how that's affecting your mood. I'm trying to listen to everything. When I tell you I'm listening to classical music, reggae, everything, just putting it on random and let it go. just so I can get that stipulation.
Well, that's why I need different perspectives, because the way my head was going, I'm like, man, I don't want to be one of them old dudes that said back in my day when, our parents ain't let us listen to this. And I mean, it is happening. They do have exposure. I just hope that we don't have to get to a point of censorship, because that's all our culture is. It's a rebellion against censorship. It's a rebellion to not having access. It's a rebellion against not being able to do. And so now we doing what we want. I just don't want us to put ourselves in the corner, but I'm gonna hear everybody out, and I hear what y'all saying. So,
I was thinking about the difference. Now we want to say that there's an open line of communication, but it's not a structured thing. When we were coming up, we had, what was that show on BET? Was it Teen Summit? Like you had like stuff like that. You had stuff like that where rappers and entertainers were coming and telling you what to do with their music, telling you how to interpret it, telling you, that you need to be thinking past what I'm saying. This ain't everything. You don't really have that no more. You got JT and whoever the hell from you feel me? Like period and all that shit. And I'm not knocking it, but at some point that type of artist as well needs to evolve. Every artist needs to evolve. You can't just be talking bullshit. You know what I mean? And as far as being involved and really changing or affecting change to this particular subject, I think that in the 90s was the same thing. It just had a little bit more to do with censorship. Now that we're not willing to censor anything, we got to be responsible as hell with what's coming out, and we got to be communicative. We got to be able to explain some of this, you know what I mean, or talk some of it down, or tell somebody what they truly are. You know what I mean? Sometimes somebody got to sit you down and tell you, bro, you're not a gangster, man, and it's okay not to be. You know what I mean? Sometimes somebody need to tell you that you're not a street dude, bro. Just do the right thing, you're gonna be good. Yeah. A lot of dudes need to hear that.
But Greg, I think this
a lot of these dudes in the street ain't killers, for real.
Yeah, but Greg, I think this is that generation gap is starting to form, to where we're gonna be like. We got 4-year-olds.
Yeah, right.
So it's about to happen, and they about to listen to some music, and we're gonna be like, man, what the hell is that? Like, that is trash.
You are in control of what your child listens to. For me, well, and it's a different time too, because the internet and all of that or whatever. I didn't know what rap was because I was born in the country and then moved out to LA. So I ain't know NWA, none of that till I was like 6, 7 years old. I was listening to straight vinyl because that's what we had. So I knew the Gap Band and Cameo and all of that. You know what I mean?
They ain't trying to listen to no Gap Band. No
Cameo. But see, I definitely know all of that stuff because my dad got crates of records still to this day. So I know all of that good stuff. But I definitely was aware. I mean, but TV, all of that, I definitely was aware.
It's gonna happen.
In pop culture early in life, definitely.
Right.
I'm just saying, just introduce it. You know what I mean? Like for me, I was lucky also coming from one of the jazz capitals. Here, I constantly heard it in the background. You know what I mean? Like Kenny G went to my rival high school, so it was always in my mind. And it's like, I don't know, man. I'm just happy to have had such a diverse upbringing where I could look at things like this. And before we kind of get too far off the topic, I wanted to quote somebody. Do y'all know who Glasses Malone is?
Heard of him.
So he was saying, I think he was in the comments as well. And he was like, it's funny how Jeezy and Gucci didn't even realize this whole time that they needed each other. They were pushing each other the entire time. You know what I mean? And they were so caught up in the beef. Now, it was an intense ass beef, but that is funny that nobody even thought about that until he said it.
But I think that's good for closing their chapter for them. And I think Jeezy realized that, and at the end, Gucci at least acknowledged it. And in that car with I don't know if it was Beethoven or QP that he was in the car with.
QP.
That all got acknowledged. And I'm thinking just like Jeezy thought, just like T.I. and them thought, that now they're doing the actions that they want the young people to follow. And I will, if anything, I will say we got way more of our stars that made it to the top and that's successful that can pass down some knowledge. Unlike before where they just got cracked out, they died, RIP Bobby Brown's son died now. So it's some old heads that ain't make it. So we at least got some. And I think that's good for closing, to be honest. We might have to do a video just about the culture, period. But as far as the battle, again, it was the most viewed battle. It reached about 1.8 viewers just on Instagram. I think 5.5 across all platforms. This is Atlanta, who no one knew any good music would come out of. And look what they're doing now. Look what they're doing. So we can close on that. You any remarks, Josh? Glad we had you. Hopefully,
thank y'all for having me. Y'all could check us out at the Brew Podcast, the Brew Podcast 1 on Instagram, Twitter, all of that good stuff. And then you could search on all your DSPs, all your podcasting platforms, the Brew Podcast, and we should come up. And if you Google us, you might see that we went viral last year with the
list.
top 100 top 50 rappers list that had Joe Budden at number 3. That was us.
I'm gonna put that in the title. In the top 50. But Jay, anything that's close, Jay?
What we saw last night is what to aspire to, And we never did talk about who prepared us for beef. Who prepared us for beef, or at least for me. And this will be quick. Most of my uncles were street dudes. Some of them was in gangs, some of them, was doing bank stuff or whatever. But they all taught me how to move. You know what I mean? They all taught me that the loudest person in the room is usually the weakest person in the room, and the quietest is usually the most calculated. So be quiet and keep your head on the swivel so you can be one of them people. You know what I mean? And just little bitty stuff. Walk in the middle of the street at night when there ain't no street lights. You know what I mean? Just little gems. And I'm sure that they saved me from a lot and probably saved my life a couple different times. And for us, I'm glad that we're involved with each other's families. You know what I mean? I can say a little gem to Josh's son. I can say a little gem to Greg's son, and they're probably gonna listen because it's gonna get reinforced by their father. So this village mentality, we got to really be about that for real. If we're gonna come out of this and there be some type of tangible change. So that's my close.
And the books. So make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, all that. Menace with your boy Josh. We out.
Peace out.